Good morning, gentle people of the South Coast. Well, I thought, as I do weekly, hopefully daily, that we could chat a little about something called conditional living. Now, we all know the terms and conditions we have to read and sign on contracts. When we buy a house, there's a whole slew of terms and conditions of the sale. If we sell something, there are generally terms and conditions. If I sell my vehicle to someone, it is on the condition that I am paid or that the vehicle is paid off in monthly installments of a set amount. And of course, the famous marriage contract. When you get married, there are terms and conditions of being faithful, of loving, of caring, and that kind of thing. And that means that if one party to this agreement, to this contract, breaks one of the terms and conditions, it negatively affects or could even scupper the whole agreement. Partnerships agreement between partners in businesses, the same thing. And of course, they are very important because they protect both parties, a buyer and a seller, or the two people in a relationship, be that a business or personal relationship, undertake the terms and conditions that will govern that relationship. Now, the terms I want to refer to today and the conditions I want to refer to today is the terms and conditions you place on yourself, and that is conditional living. What exactly do I mean by that? Well, when you only feel good and happy when your partner has complimented you, when you say, I would be so much happier if my husband or my wife or someone stopped doing this or started doing something. I would be so much happier if my significant other would just notice me more and compliment me. I would be so much happier if my boss acknowledged my efforts at work. I would be so much happier if, let's say, my sister stopped picking on me. That is conditional living. The condition that I place upon myself to be happy and to have a good sense of self is dependent on someone else doing or not doing something. That is so disempowering, because if you can only be happy, fulfilled, and push your chest out and pick your chin up if, let's say, your significant other compliments you and acknowledges you or tells you your cooking is great, that means your happiness, your self-worth is going to be a seesaw affair. When he or she does it, it's going to be awesome. And when they don't, you're going to be in the doldrums. Your happiness will be either on high peaks or low valleys. As I say, it's a seesaw affair. This is conditional living. My happiness is on the condition someone else does or stops doing something. It is so disempowering. You have no power. You have given your power to someone else. You have given your ability to choose to be happy and fulfilled to someone else. Isn't that somehow one of the most basic, I want to say, sins that we can perpetrate upon ourselves? No, if you want to be happy, it has to be no matter what others say or do, I'm going to be happy. And it starts with every morning saying, today, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to look for things about myself to enjoy and appreciate. I am going to find the things that make me happy. And when we make that undertaking with ourselves, to ourselves, then we start looking for those things and then we find them. It is that self-fulfilling prophecy. And equally, if we say, oh, well, I wonder if my boss is going to be in a mood again when I get home, or where my colleague is going to, be awkward again, then you already start the day expecting there to be a problem at work. And then 9 times out of 10, you do find something real or imagined to be ticked off about. And when I say real or imagined, if it is real, if if there is someone in your life who behaves in a way that has up to today not sat well with you and has made you feel down, you now have the choice to say, I am not going to allow you to take my power. I am not going to willingly give my power to have a great day to you. And that way you start gaining your power again. It becomes self-empowering. We've all heard a lot about self-empowerment over the last couple of years. It's been a hot topic. And it's a very important topic, because when you realize that you have the power to be happy or unhappy, and it does not depend on what someone else does or doesn't do, you are free. It reminds me of the poet, the contemporary poet Christopher Logie, who writes this poem, or part of it is, where it says, come to the edge, but we might fall. Come to the edge. It's too high. Come to the edge. And they came, and he pushed, and they flew. That illustrates to me that sometimes we need to either be pushed or force ourselves out of our uncomfortable comfort zone, and we'll find we can fly. I say uncomfortable comfort zone because very often we're not comfortable where we are, but it's more comfortable than taking a step out of it. So we stay in relationships that are not healthy for us. We put up with behavior that is not helpful to us, and it's not building. But we rather stay there than, it's a bit of rather the devil you know than the one you don't. And by adopting that, it's conditional living. Your health and happiness and mental health is dependent on someone else's behavior. And that is such a disempowering and sad way of living. If you don't change, you will always be at the mercy of someone else. If you're waiting for someone else to change, well, it's like putting lipstick on the mirror. You know, if you go to the mirror and you put the lipstick on the mirror and you walk away, nothing has changed. The lipstick's still on the mirror. You have not changed. And it's the same with waiting for someone else to behave in a certain way for you to be happy. Even if that person does change, there will be someone else that will have the power to sabotage your happiness and self-worth because you have not changed. It's always conditional living. My boss has been mean to me. My sister made a nasty comment. My partner is not doing or doing something. And there are a slew of people who can put you down, intentionally or unintentionally, but you've given them the power to do that. Whereas if you start honoring and respecting and loving yourself, no one has that power anymore. When you start saying, you know what, I'm going to be happy no matter what anyone else says or does, then that starts becoming empowering. And you start that little bit every day. You know, if you had to plant 2 daisies every day for the next year, you are going to have 365 times 2 daisies. Off the top of my head, I have no idea what that is. But you're going to have an awful lot of daisies all over the place. But if I say to you, you have got to plant 265 daisies in the next 2 days, it's pretty much impossible. And that's what I'm saying. Start by taking your power back little by little, by finding the things that you can do easiest and moving to the more difficult challenges of people that you feel have this power over you. There was a sociologist called Charles somebody or another who referred to the world as the looking glass. And what he meant is that people, the world, sees us and treats us the way we see and treat ourselves. Again, the mirror. If I look in the mirror in the morning and think, you are a good-looking woman and you can have the best day and we're just going to dolly you up a bit and it's going to be amazing. That is what I take out and that is what the world sees. But if I stand in front of the mirror, no matter how much I've titivated and I think, oh, you're having a bad hair day, and I wish your nose was different and your eyes were somehow different or whatever, then I go into the world with that view of myself. And people pick that up in a million subtle ways, and they treat you accordingly. So the more you start honoring yourself, loving yourself, and respecting yourself, the more other people will respond to that and start treating you similarly. Look at anybody who's confident and self-assured, walking into a room, and people treat them in that way. The way they have presented themselves to the mirror is reflected back at them. So if somebody's treating you badly, poorly, remember you teach people how to treat you. I've shared this with you right at the start. You teach people how to treat you. And that comes from, how do I treat myself? And so, in the words of Shakespeare, above all, to thine own self be true, and then it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not be false to any man. How liberating is that? How wonderful is that to say, I am true to myself, and in being true to myself, I'm being true to every person I come in contact with and in every situation I find or present myself to. Being happy, feeling worthy is your responsibility, no one else's. And if you're waiting for someone to behave in a certain way for you to feel worthy and liked and acknowledged and valued, it is going to be a seesaw ride. And at times you're going to feel good, and at times you're going to feel awful. So start looking at yourself in a new light. Start giving yourself the thumbs up for anything and everything. And of course, you have to start, as I say, living on your own terms and being happy. And of course, allowing other people to do the same. This is a two-way street. Allow other people to deal with what they feel they have to deal with, and don't expect them always to do what you believe they should be doing. Become aware of how you see yourself, what you say to yourself, what those quiet words are you have in your heart about yourself. Whether it is, oh, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too short, I'm too tall. Change the narrative, change the script by which you live your life, and start with a self-empowering. Start living unconditionally. Just like the love we want, that should be unconditional, and the love we give should be unconditional. But it starts with your love for yourself. So on that note, gentle people, I wish you all a self-loving, safe, and happy Easter.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
This is South Coast Radio.